Hopefully you enjoyed that. My name is Fabian Dolan. This is how I got good at guitar. I just quickly want to show you my guitar playing journey, just to inspire you a bit more. So if you feel like you're stuck and you're in a bit of a rut and you don't know how to sound better, or you don't really see a future of you actually sounding good on the instrument, I just want to show you what I used to sound like right here. So this is me right here, back in the band when I was a beginner / intermediate player. Right, and as you can hear, I sucked. I didn't sound very good. It was a hot mess. And then I managed to learn and advance my guitar playing, and I got to a stage where I was playing like this. Right, I learned how to develop some chops, right? I actually got better at the instrument, and I sounded quite listenable. I was quite proud of this performance, and I'm quite proud of how I played today, and I want to be able to give that to other people. So, my job, I help guitarists advance their guitar playing. So again, if you feel like you're currently stuck in a rut, you don't know how to get better, I do offer lessons, so again, check that link in the description. But again, first and foremost, I need to deliver education first, right? Education is more valuable than entertainment. So if you're looking to be entertained, this video is not for you. Go open like TikTok or something like that. Again, some words from my students here. Some other people that I've helped on YouTube. Some nice comments here, right? So let's crack into the video. Today's lesson is on adding embellishments and fills to chords. So let's take a listen to this quickly. If you want to be able to play like this, this lesson is for you. Hopefully I'm going to be able to demystify what's going on here, make it sound, or at least seem more simple than it actually is, right? So yeah, if you want to be able to play like that, keep watching. This is a performance by I don't know who this person is, but the song is called Once by Philip Sace. This is this person's YouTube channel. Unfortunately, I don't know how to pronounce that. But if you type in just Philip Sace Once, this video is going to come up. He's a very talented guitarist, right? So what we're going to go over today, the chord shapes that we need to prioritize in order to be able to play like this. We're going to have to ditch our bar chord shapes, unfortunately. I know we're quite familiar and comfortable with them, but they kind of restrict how much we can move our hands, right? And then how to find notes that we can play over the top of chords. So if you know how to play these chord shapes and you're thinking, oh, how does he know which notes to play in order to sound good, right? I'm going to be able to go over that and again, hopefully demystify some of this. So let's crack on. What we need to go over. We need spare fingers in order to play these kind of licks and embellishments over the top, right? If I show you here, if we have our bar chord shapes, like we all know this one here, I don't have any free fingers apart from maybe this pinky here over here to be able to play like phrases over the top. However, if I change the shape to this one here, you can see it already, because I have this spare pinky finger, ergonomically it makes more sense to be able to do this. And then go into our scale shapes from there, right? So yeah, again, we're going to cover today how to connect these chords to scale shapes. Anyway, I digress. We need spare fingers. In order to add filler notes into our chord playing, we need to have enough fingers to play the main chord while also having at least one finger spare to play these filler embellishment notes, right? So we have to abandon our bar chords and find a new approach to how we play chords. If this is too difficult at the moment, that's okay. If you won't be able to do these shapes that I'm showing you, I want you to try and grasp the idea, the concept of connecting scale shapes to your chords. But yeah, again, eventually we want to be able to abandon those bar chords. We just need to mention this quickly here. You're not going to be able to follow along with this lesson if you don't understand how to play the 5 shapes of the pentatonic scale and how to apply those shapes to major and minor. Luckily, for major and minor, they're all the same shape. It's just where you place them on the fretboard in accordance to the note that you're playing over is what determines whether it's major or minor. But yeah, I want to be able to show you that you can get a lot of mileage out of just using pentatonic shapes, but eventually we want to be able to apply this concept to other scales like the major scale as well. So like if we wanted to advance that, we can use concepts like modal harmony and then play kind of these sonic kind of textures and tones with our chord playing and embellish over that, and we're going to be able to create cool vibes using modal harmony, right? So again, this is something for the future. If we wanted to keep expanding upon this concept and make it more complicated, we use theory like this. But again, today's lesson, I'm only going to show you how to do this stuff over the pentatonic scale because as guitarists, we're quite used to this idea. We're kind of quite familiar with it already, and I want to show people how to kind of get more out of simple things that they probably already know, right? So you're going to get more mileage out of simple concepts, right? So what scales and shapes do we need? So I'm going to show you 2 shapes for both minor and major chords that you can do embellishments over, right? There's going to be one shape that's starting on the E string for major and minor, and then there's going to be one shape on the A string for a major chord and one shape for a minor chord as well, starting from the A string, right? Both of these shapes will have to connect a scale in order to add embellishments over the top. Again, if you want to follow along with this video, you're going to need to know how to play major and minor scales. So I suggest that you find another video on YouTube which teaches you how to play all 5 positions of the pentatonic scale and how to apply that over major and minor chords, right? If you don't know how to do that yet, you're going to struggle with this video. So now we're going to go over our major shapes and how they apply to a pentatonic scale, right? So we have the shapes here that we're going to look at, and then later we're going to see how the scale applies over the top of them. So first, let's learn the shapes that we can use to do these cool embellishment kind of sounds, right? So we've got this one here that starts on the A string. So we start here with the 3rd fret of the A string, which gives us C. Then we play the 5th fret of the D string, 5th fret of the G, and 5th fret of the B, which, if you look here, I'm playing it like this. I'm sure most of us are already quite familiar with that bar chord shape right here. But what I wanted to show you today is how to use that to make these embellishment sounds, right? What we're going to have to do to this shape is invert it. We're going to use an inversion. So that means what we're doing, instead of playing this bass note on C, we're playing another chord tone, E, here for the bass note. So that means we slide this shape and we play it like this instead. This is still a C chord, so if you are asked to play a chord progression and C major came up, this shape would still work. It would still sound like C. And what's cool about it is now we have this ring finger here and a scale shape that fits right over the top of it to play these chords. So I want you to be able to practice. Again, we'll go over the scale shapes later just in case you can't do this yet. But going from this to that. So instead of this finger doing the barring, we slide it up there, and then our index finger bars those frets right there, over the 5th fret. Right, we've got this kind of whole shape right underneath our fingers right here. Right, now we're going to go over our E string shape right here, and we're going to play this B flat chord. This is going to make sense later why I chose these chords, but we're going to play it. This is essentially a Hendrix chord. If you know what a Hendrix chord is, this is how he plays his major chords starting from the E string. So on the 6th fret, we use our thumb to play the bass note, and then these 3 fingers play the triad here. So we have the B flat root note on the 8th fret of the D string, then our middle finger plays the G string on the 7th fret, then our index finger plays the B string on the 6th fret, and then we put those 2 together, and again there's a shape right underneath this. So it's quite ergonomic to be able to play that shape there instead of... I mean, you can kind of get away with it by playing the bar chord. But in my opinion, this is a lot better because it gives us our pinky finger free, so that if we're playing the chord, we can use our pinky finger to play these notes over here. So now let's go over how the scale shape relates to these chords. So let's do it over this shape right here. Okay, so we have this inverted C chord right here, again starting the 7th fret and then barring the 5th here, looking like that. What we want to do here is play the first position of the pentatonic scale. If we look at the key here, shape 1 is this grey colour, and that's what this looks like right here. So if we start on the 5th fret, and then to the 8th, and then 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 7, 5, 8, sorry I missed a note here, but that should be 5, 8, and then 5, 8 again. That's the first position of the pentatonic scale. Alright, and then we have this shape right here that is already inside of that scale shape. So we have a chord inside of that scale, right? So if we're looking for notes to play to embellish that, that's how they're doing this. That's how they're doing those embellished chords, is that they're applying a chord shape over the top of the scale. Now what the cool part is if you know all your scale shapes and you know them fluently and how to connect them together, you can go between these scale positions. So we have hit this here. So I'm playing the scale shape behind the very first one, which would be the shape 5. And that's right here. So that scale shape sounds like this. If we start on the 3rd fret, then 5th, and 3rd to 5th, and then 2nd to 5th, 2nd to 5th, 3rd to 5th, and then finally 3rd to 5th on the high E string. And if we look at this diagram here, right, if we look at where that original C bar chord shape is, that's this note here. We have, I think I can draw quickly as well, right? It looks like this. That's our bar chord right there, right? We can see that it exists over the top of this scale shape. And if we invert it, we get this more ergonomic shape where we can kind of run through the scale a lot easier. So that's why I'm teaching you that there today, right? Just because it makes more sense to be able to play that way instead of playing this. I mean, you can do it, but I think it's a bit more difficult. Forgive me for that one bad note there, right? But that's how we do this over one chord. So we have C major, we have a C major chord, and we play the C major pentatonic over here. And these are all the scale shapes for C major. Now, the beautiful thing about the guitar is that it's a very easy instrument to transpose on. So all you have to do is learn the same shape, but just start it from a different note, and then you get to play the scale in a new key. So if we wanted to play the C major pentatonic, and then we had a new chord that we wanted to play over and embellish, we'd have to play the B flat major pentatonic. So that means that the notes in which these positions start from change. So if we wanted to play B flat major, it starts here. The first position is on the 3rd fret, or 6th fret is the root technically, right? So if I had B flat major like this, if I play it like this shape here, right, the one I taught you earlier, it starts on the 6th fret, looks like this. And we have the first position right there. However, again, this time when we're playing over the E chord, ergonomically, it doesn't really make much sense to be going backwards this way when our fingers are already here. Why don't we try and move as little as possible and use the notes that we already have available to us? So we can use the second position, the second shape of the major pentatonic, over this chord shape right here. So if I tried that, and just mess around, you can choose any of these notes here, right? So I'm starting here, going to there, then there to there, there to there, there to there, and then yeah, 6 to 8, 6 to 8, right? Again, hopefully you followed the mouse and kind of understood that. But if I try and apply that with playing, so yeah, these people, they figured out how to apply a scale shape over the top of a chord, and they figured out how to play the right corresponding scale to the chord they're playing over, right? So all you have to do is learn how to play the corresponding major pentatonic to the major chord that you're currently playing. Now the cool thing that happens is once we switch between chords and scale shapes. So again, you need to learn how to transpose these shapes and play them in different places and positions. So if we try going from C major to B flat major, it's going to sound something like this, right? Right? So all I'm doing there is just switching between C major and playing the C major pentatonic, and then switching to B flat major and then playing the B flat major pentatonic. So yeah, what you're going to have to learn how to do is learn to play these scale shapes, and then how to transpose those scale shapes to the correct chord you're playing over. Now, let's go on to minor shapes and how to play minor sounds over minor chords. So again, we're going to use the minor pentatonic, and we're going to go over a shape for the A string and a shape for the E string. So for our A string shape, which just means the root note starts on the 5th string, this one here, we're going to play a D minor chord. Again, most of you are probably already familiar with that shape and how to play it. But just in case you aren't, we start here on the 5th fret with our index finger. Then my ring finger plays the A note on the D string. Then my pinky finger plays the D on the G string. And then my middle finger plays this F note on the B string. And then yeah, this index finger is kind of playing this A note on the E string. Again, that isn't essential. If you can't do that, don't worry. The important notes here are this one, this one, this one, and this one, right? So yeah, we get this sound. And again, there's a pentatonic shape right around this area here that we can go here. But again, we're going to go over that later. And I'm going to go over this E string shape first, and then we'll dive into the pentatonics for the minor chords. So, our E string shape for minor chords, we're going to play it like this. Again, it's similar to that E string shape for major chords, but instead of having a note here, we just move it back 1 fret to here. So if the major shape would have kind of looked like this, right? It would have been that. This one, we're just moving this note back to there, right? So, what does that sound like? That is, my thumb is over the 5th fret of the E string, playing this A note. Then my ring finger is playing the D string on the 7th fret. Then my index finger is playing the G string on the 5th fret, and it's playing the B string on the 5th fret as well. So we get this here. Right? And again, I like this shape the most. I think it's the simplest because it lands directly over shape 1 of the minor pentatonic scale. Right? So if I play this sound again, right, if you know your minor pentatonic scale shapes, which again is the same shape as major, it just means you start it in a different place, then it's going to be very easy for you to play these kind of fills and embellishments over your chords. So yeah, again, we have shape 1 that we can use over this E string position minor, right? And then we're going to go over this A string shape here, and we have to use shape 4 for this one, right? So we're going to play this D minor chord. Again, you're going to need to learn how to transpose these across different keys. So again, you're going to have to figure out, again, that it's the same shape. It's always the same distance between the notes. It's just you start in a different place to transpose. So again, if you don't know how to play these shapes or how to transpose them, it's going to be quite difficult for you to follow along with this lesson. So anyway, I digress. Back into the A shape of the minor chord. So we have this here, right, for our D minor. We have this 4th position fits right over the top of that. So if I go like, right, and again, the cool part comes from changing and switching between chords and changing the key of the pentatonic that you're using. So if we want to play D minor chord, we have to play a D minor pentatonic, and it makes sense to play the fourth shape if we're playing in this position here on the A string. And then we go to an A minor chord, which means we have to play the A minor pentatonic, transpose that pentatonic scale to A minor, which means we play a new shape starting from here on the 5th fret. Again, the most ergonomically sensible one is this first position around the 5th fret. So what does it sound like if I switch between the two of these? So if I go from D minor, right? So that's what you want to be able to do in order to get those embellish fill kind of sounds, right? So now, combining both the major and minor chords and major and minor pentatonics together. The reason I showed you these shapes for C, C major, B flat major, D minor, and A minor is because these chords sound cool together in a chord progression. So yeah, make sure that you practice how every scale shape relates to each chord. For example, our chords that start on the E string heavily relate to the first position of the pentatonic scale. Again, that A minor chord, first position of the pentatonic is right there. But now, I'm going to give you an example of me going through all these chords here, using each corresponding pentatonic scale, and how they sound together using those fills and embellishments. So, C major. Right, so if you're able to understand these concepts, understand how to apply a scale shape to a chord that you're playing, you're going to be able to add all these embellishments over the top if you stick to that scale shape. If you play only the notes within that scale, those are the options you have to create those embellished kind of sounds, right? So yeah, the cool part comes when you get chord progressions and learning how to play a major pentatonic over a major chord, and each corresponding chord, transposing it, and then playing a minor pentatonic on the corresponding minor chord, and then merging those all together, and then like flowing between different scales and pieces, right? That's what's going to give you this fluid kind of embellished sound where you can glide across, play different chords and different notes, right? So, thank you for watching to the end. Well done. This has been how I got good at guitar. Hopefully you can too. Again, if you're confused with this lesson, you can't really follow along, check the link in the description. I'll be able to offer you lessons, like one-on-one coaching and stuff like that. Again, thank you for making it to the end. This channel is completely supported by fans. Check out lessons in the description, or you can tip if you like as well. And again, don't forget to subscribe for more high quality guides, and you can follow me on Instagram if you want. Thank you for watching.